Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel where I'm going to walk you through how I soloed all 6 fights in this month's Paragon Gauntlet. You can see my team here, Spider-Punk, Vox, and Chee'ilth. Starting off with this Vox Both, I really like Chee'ilth for this fight for a couple reasons. First off, she applies bleeds, and you really want somebody with bleeds for the Bloody Mess node. The second node you want to pay attention to is consistent combos, which says that if you don't do a full 5-hit combo, you're going to get an unsteady debuff, and then all of your stuff is going to glance. And since Chee'ilth has such easy access to cleanse, she can get away with intercepting if you have a cleanse passive up, and then that'll take care of that unsteady debuff right away. You can see in this fight I'm trying my best to push him to the special 2 as much as possible, just because the special 2, you can just outrange it. There isn't really a specific dex for it. But if you know the SP1 dex and you're comfortable with it, you can also have the fight go a little bit faster. With the buff toggle unblockable node, it can be difficult to push him to the special 2, so you can either play like really patient with it and just wait out the unblockable, or just kind of attempt the special 1 dex. Make sure to utilize your striker again to push him to the special 2. That's going to make your life a lot easier. Yeah, other than that, you know, you can also take a bunch of blocked hits when he's not unblockable, of course, in order to give him a bunch of power from kinetic transference. And again, the goal here, push him to the special 2 as much as possible. And yeah, as long as you have somebody who's going to bleed him, you'll have a pretty easy time in this fight. If you don't bring a bleeder, this fight's going to take probably 10 times longer than you want it to. So this one is just about over. This special one, I think, kills Vox, and that's a pretty clean fight, near 100% health finish. Alright, next up we have this Psycho Man boss. Honestly, a little annoying without the right kind of champion here. So, first node you want to think about here is Dazed and Confused. If you parry him more than once in 7 seconds, you're going to get a falter on you. And then he has a 90% chance to auto-block basic attacks, and that chance is decreased per buff on you. So Vox, very quick and easy access to a lot of buffs. So at the start of the fight, just parry, get a couple hits in, and you've already reduced that auto-block chance by quite a bit. And then beyond that, Vox has easy and access to a permanent Undermine buff on his special 1. And with that Undermine buff, you can safely do like repeated special 1s to apply the degen with Vox, and you'll always have that Undermine up to counter the auto block, even though at this point you can see we don't have enough buffs to naturally counter it via the node, but the Undermine will take care of us while we let those degens tick him down. Yeah, so just normal cycle SP1s with Vox here. You're seeing we're having concussions on us. That is from a node called Concussive Resonance, so if you hit his block or his auto block, you're going to get concussions. Doesn't really matter too much in this fight. It is giving us a decent source of willpower healing, and thus keeping us topped up for the rest of this quest, which is really nice. Definitely don't push Psycho Man to a special 2. If he ends up in the blue phase, or whatever it's called, you can see his specials are unblockable. So if you get stuck in the blue phase with a special 2, you're gonna have a really bad time. I find the dex on his special 2 to be pretty difficult. And another close to 100% health finish. Alright, next up we have this Valkyrie, and the skill ask in this fight is that you want to heavy counter every one of her specials, because after her specials you have a timer on you, and if you fail to knock her down with a heavy, you're going to take like 33% of your health in damage immediately. She also has a couple of other nodes here. Really only crits are going to deal damage to her. And then she has a node called Deadly Precision, where she has a 60% chance to evade unless you have a precision on you. And then when the attacker gains a cruelty buff or a cruelty passive, you're going to gain a precision buff. So the precision buffs on Vox from Dexterity do stack, which again makes him really easy for this fight. And in fact, I don't think she evades at all in this fight. And if she does, it's only like once or twice. So yeah, you can basically just, again, do your normal Vox rotation, and the hardest part of this fight is definitely trying to get the spacing correct on her special 1 so that you can effectively heavy counter it. It really looks like when she does like that jump flip at the end, that she's going to like snap forward to you, but she actually doesn't, and you'll see me a few times when I do it in this fight. I'm actually like just standing like just out of range, and she does that like flip stab thingy like right in front of me, which gives me plenty of room to nail the heavy counter right here. Yeah, so just repeatedly do that. Don't push her to the special 2 because it's designed to push her far away from you. And again, the less you have to parry her in this fight and try and parry heavy, the better, because she can always shrug off those stuns and really mess with you. So yeah, Vox makes that fight really easy. Definitely my MVP for this quest. If you have Vox, you should definitely bring them. All right, moving on to this Overseer boss. So Overseer can parry you on his auto block, and he has Energize. You can see there that purplish passive icon. So he's going to be having more specials. Also has Bane, as you can see, that passive on him. And then he reduces the ability accuracy of True Strike and accuracy and Focus and Sense by 100%. So the only real way to counter his auto block is with Undermine or with Unblockable. And of course, Vox, again, easy and quick access to an Undermine buff. You don't have to worry about his auto block at all in this fight, and you can basically just play around the Bane timer. Just continuously cycle Overseer special attacks. Time the Bane transfers with your special 1 if you want. And this fight, probably the easiest one of the 6, I would say, just because of how hard a counter Vox is. Use the Striker there, and then this special one ends up killing, and we actually gained some health there and finished with a yellow bar. Alright, moving on to the new champs for this month. First off, we have Beta Ray Bill, and this, I did not enjoy this fight at all. So he's going to be applying shocks to you when you use your medium 1. However, if you try and bring a champ who is immune to shock, he's going to give you like burst damage. And it's annoying because, when he throws his special 1, if the shocks expire during the special 1, they're going to deal a bunch of damage. You can dex the special 1 to get the energy resistance buffs there, but as you're going to see there, they don't really do enough, and you're still taking a buttload of energy burst damage from him, and it really feels unavoidable. So yeah, really did not care for the nodes on this particular fight, but the skill ask here, just learn the special 1 dex. You don't want to parry him because the parry will give you an armor up buff, and then when he hits into you, he has like a 30% chance to pulverize that armor, and if he pulverizes it, again, you're going to get a nice burst of energy damage. So a lot of ways in this fight for Beta Ray Bill to just deal like cheap damage to you, and you're going to see we do get through this fight with a solo, of course, but Chee'ilth is close to death at the end, and honestly, if she hadn't been a rank 3, I would have had to boost probably to get through this fight without dying. Yeah, if you have a better counter for this fight, I would love to hear it in the comments below, but for the way that I wanted to kind of work my team, using her here was my best option. Didn't want to use Vox because he has armor ups as well, and Beta Ray Bill could pulverize those. Alright, moving on to Enchantress, the new big bad 5 out of 5 defender here, and there's a couple things that you want to pay attention to with Enchantress. So she has 3 different colors of spells, and removing them requires a different action on your part. So orange spells you want to intercept, and again, Punk really good for that because his evade counts as an intercept. Green spells you want to interrupt her heavy, and then the purple spells you want to knock her down. So 3 basic things, but where it gets tricky with her is the order in which you sometimes have to perform them. So you'll see here, she's going to refresh her spells. She's getting a thing called Evade All Knockdown. So you have to remove a certain spell that doesn't require a knockdown first, and then you can go ahead and knock her down. So it's really tricky to do, kind of like mid-fight. What I kind of did on this is just, pretty much just block the special 1 and keep an eye during her special 1 on the HUD callouts on her side so that I knew exactly what I had to kind of do, or what I couldn't do. If I see that like evade all knockdown, I know that I have to do a heavy interrupt and or an intercept first, and then do the knockdown after that. So Punk really good for this fight, as you can see. Took some damage, but again, a lot of her damage feels kind of like unavoidable. There are other really good options for that fight too. Spider-Ham, Scorpion, people like that. That's going to do it for this one. Hope this was helpful for you. As always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again next time.